Hi, good morning. We are live now. We got about 15 minutes before we start the actual live ceremony, so I hope you'll stick with us. We're going to share some of our sponsors this morning. Got a couple of little videos planned for you before we actually get started officially. So thank you again for joining us, and we will see you for the live ceremony in about 15 minutes. Welcome everybody. It looks like we've about 30 people joined live so far, and I just want to pull up a couple of comments here. Stacy looks like she's on Twitch, says good morning to everybody. Lance also, he's in Coos County, saying good morning as well. And we got a couple other comments coming in. Tyson's down in Medford. Good morning, Tyson. Thanks for joining us. As I mentioned, we're going to start at about 10 o'clock. We have a couple of additional videos to show before we get officially started. So now I want to share with you a short video, two participants kind of sharing what their reasons are for joining us. So thank you all again for your time for joining us this morning, and we will see you officially for the opening ceremony in about 10 minutes.
Parker Bounds Johnson is my beautiful, kind, caring, courageous, creative, loyal, and extremely generous son who took his life September 20th, 2014 after suffering a battle with depression, anxiety, and what we later learned, likely traumatic brain injury caused by multiple concussions. AFSP has been there from the beginning, and we stand behind them in the incredible work they do to help people find their way out of the darkness. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sue, and my why is for my brother, Danny Dan Reeser, who lost his fight with depression in June of 2019. I want to bring awareness to mental health, that it is real, and that if people are struggling, we need to reach out to them and ask, are you okay? We didn't realize my brother was fighting depression his whole life until the end. So if you are struggling, there is help, there is hope, and you are in this life for a reason. Thank you.
Hello again. I want to go back to some of the comments. Aaron is watching on YouTube from Portland. Good morning, Aaron. And I'm not sure what this Lily Toos 2020 is watching. Good morning. Good morning to you. Thank you. And I'm glad you're here. Looks like we got people from the Midwest also. AFSP Illinois. Good morning. Welcome. All right, Jen from McMinnville's here watching on Twitch as well. Again, we're going to go live for our planned ceremony in about 10 minutes or so. For now, we got a couple of more videos to show you. And I hope you'll just join me in recognizing the sponsors who made this possible. So thank you all for joining live. We'll be back here after this short video. All right, welcome back live. We have about 50 people watching live. We're going to get started officially in about 5 minutes, but for now, I'd love for you to hear a special message from the CEO of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, Bob Gebbia.
I'm Bob Gebbia, CEO of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and it's an honor for me to welcome you to the Out of the Darkness experience. A heartfelt thanks goes to all of you, our amazing friends and supporters, for participating in this event and for raising awareness and funds for suicide prevention. Now, clearly, much has changed since last year's Out of the Darkness community walk. It's a challenging time. And on behalf of all of us at AFSP, our thoughts are with you and your families during this pandemic. We hope you are staying safe and healthy. And I can assure you the pandemic has not deterred AFSP from its work. We've adapted our life-saving programs, delivering them virtually, wherever and whenever possible, including Talk Saves Lives, our most used public education program. From the start of the pandemic, AFSP has been a leading voice about caring for one's mental health, using traditional and social media to convey messages about self-care, that physical distancing doesn't mean social isolation, and about staying in treatment or seeking treatment through telemental health. Now, we continue to make progress across all areas of our work. Our investment in research has continued with 38 new studies funded since the start of the pandemic. We reached 1 million people during May Mental Health Month with our hashtag #RealConvo campaign. And in June, we launched new Seize the Awkward public service ads to empower teens and young adults to help a friend who is struggling. We held 38 state advocacy days since last fall, and the first ever virtual federal advocacy, where we had 1,400 participants from 50 states contact their members of Congress to support improved crisis services for people in emotional distress. And as an organization, we are speaking out about the inequities in access to mental health care, in particular for communities of color, and we continue to advocate for ending all health care disparities. Our interactive screening program continues to be used in schools and workplaces, giving people a safe and anonymous way to reach out for support. Since the start of the program, we've connected over 180,000 people to help they would not have otherwise sought. And when suicide does occur, AFSP is there to support the families and friends with programs and resources. This year alone, we will host more than 400 International Survivors of Suicide Loss Day events to offer comfort and support. None of this work would be possible without all of you and hundreds of thousands of others. We need you to be involved because our work is more critical than ever. Based on the latest CDC data, the suicide rate in the U.S. continues to trend up, and we are concerned that the isolation and grief and economic impact of the pandemic could contribute to further loss of life from suicide. But we believe an increase in suicide isn't inevitable, and with greater investment in mental health care and suicide prevention now, we can avert any increase and save many lives. Your participation in this event is lifting up those who struggle with thoughts of suicide, and you are remembering loved ones who we've lost, sons and daughters, siblings and parents, spouses, partners, and friends. The involvement of each of you is so critical to our mission of saving lives and bringing hope to those affected by suicide. Everything AFSP is doing is a direct result of your willingness to get involved. I hope you will stay involved. Because of you, we are able to fight for a day when no one will die by suicide. I look forward to seeing you all in person at an event sometime in the future. But until then, thank you and stay safe.
Well, we're so glad to have Bob had the opportunity to record that special message for us. So again, welcome everybody. We're going to get started officially right after this brief video from one of our sponsors, Providence.
Hello, I'm Dr. Robin Henderson, and I'm a psychologist with Providence Health System. At Providence, we understand the impact the pandemic has had on our communities and on your mental health and wellness. And I'm here to tell you that you're not alone. Hope is not canceled. Hundreds of Providence caregivers and staff are joining the Out of the Darkness Walk. Our teams are made up of doctors, nurses, administrators, and mental health workers. We know the impact of suicide on our work in the front lines of healthcare, and we feel it personally too. We want our communities to know that they are never alone when dealing with suicide and mental illness. With 1 in 5 Americans impacted by mental health issues, Providence is forming partnerships to reach even more people before a crisis occurs. If you or someone you love needs help, please look for community resources at providence.org. I invite everyone who cares about suicide to join us in coming out of the darkness and walk with us so that we can begin to heal. Thank you and be well.
Welcome to the 2020 Out of the Darkness experience. This year, communities across the state of Oregon are coming together to fight suicide. We are so honored that you have joined us today, and we hope that it will be a day of remembrance and healing for each and every one of you.
Our mission to save lives and bring hope to those affected by suicide has not changed. We are a strong and resilient community, united in our efforts to fight suicide, raise awareness, educate our communities, support those who have lost loved ones, and support those who have lived experience.
We use our voices and share our stories to provide hope, and today is the perfect day to reflect, to remember those we have lost, and to honor those who are struggling or have struggled and are fighting to stay. At AFSP, we are all connected, and you belong to a strong community united in an effort to fight suicide.
Mental health and suicide prevention are more important than ever. And we're confident that with your help, we can reach more people than ever before by creating a culture that's smart about mental health. AFSP remains dedicated to providing you with opportunities to connect, heal, share stories, create impact, and show that you're not alone in your lost journey.
We want to recognize those of you who, like us, live with suicidal thoughts. We are so glad to have you here with us in this fight. We want you to know that you are not alone and you are important to us. Your presence, vulnerability, and openness allows others to know they too are not alone in their struggle.
We want to recognize those of you who support friends or family members who live with suicidal thoughts. We know how challenging that can sometimes be, and we thank you for continuing to support them in their mental health journey. We want you to know that you are not alone and you are important to us. You are helping to erase the stigma and ensuring that they know that they are not alone in their struggle.
Because of our connection, we are able to come together to fight suicide, and we will save lives and bring hope to those affected by suicide.
Well, welcome everybody. My name is Ryan Price. I'm the area director for the Oregon chapter. I just want to welcome you this morning. I know that nothing can substitute for an in-person walk, but we have worked really hard to make this experience meaningful and positive for you. I am coming to you live from Oregon City, so wherever you're tuning in from, we'd love to hear from you in the chats or comments. Whether you're watching on Twitch, you can use the chat, or Facebook or YouTube, you can use the chat or comments there. Throughout the morning, we're going to be pulling up comments into the stream, actually, so comment and let us know you're there. Also, it'll help us a lot. It'll help me personally a lot, knowing that you're out there. Doesn't feel like I'm just talking to a camera. I know that somebody's out there. So thank you all for joining. And for those of you who are watching the recording, sorry you couldn't make it here live, but I want to welcome you as well. And for everybody watching, whether it's a recording or you're live now, just want to thank you for taking the time to tune in today and to join us. A huge thanks to all of our sponsors. You see the presenting sponsors on the screen now, but others you will see on the event website, as well as on the t-shirts that we will be mailing to participants who raise $150. Now, I want to introduce you to the Oregon Chapter Board Chair, Angela Perry.
Hello. Thank you, Ryan. And thank you all for being here with us today to help bring suicide out of the darkness. While we can't be in person, I choose to embrace the change from our traditional walks to this experience. And I'm optimistic that the tools that we have learned and utilized this year will help us long-term to continue to expand, grow, and strengthen our AFSP Oregon family. Throughout 2020, we've been able to continue to advocate for policy change related to mental health and suicide prevention at both the state and federal level. We've been able to continue with Healing Conversations, our survivor support program, and we will be holding a Survivor Day this November. We have been able to continue with our educational programs by presenting Talk Saves Lives via Zoom to people not only across Oregon, but across the country. And we've been able to bring one of the researchers, Marissa Maricini, I may have butchered her name, who AFSP helped to fund to a virtual research connection program that AFSP did just earlier this month. Just like all of you, our lives have been touched by suicide. And as the chair of the Oregon Chapter Board, I'm thankful for the other 8 extremely dedicated volunteer board members. The 9 of us work together in a way that the Oregon chapter has never before seen on its chapter board. From a recent college graduate to a great grandfather, mental health professionals, first responder turned Department of Corrections, trade workers, healthcare workers, public school employees. We are from 9 different cities representing 7 different counties, each bringing different perspectives, and we're able to use that to make a larger impact than ever before. Lance, Miley, Sam, Sean, Dan, Lucy, Jen, Michael, and I come from different backgrounds, and yet we all have at least one thing in common. We have all been touched by suicide. Whether that's by the loss of a loved one, a personal struggle, or both, we all know just how important it is to find ways to come together, to support one another, and to share hope. Now, myself and some of our board members will share who we are, because just like you, we're here to bring suicide out of the darkness, not just today, but every day. I found AFSP in 2015 when I attended my first Out of the Darkness walk. I felt such a connection to those that were present that day, and despite the fact that they were all complete strangers, I could see that whatever had brought them there that day, whatever hard stuff they had been or were going through, they had found hope and connection to others. 2 things that I desperately needed. Volunteering for AFSP has helped me to find purpose for my pain and has allowed me to find my voice. I've had the privilege to participate in several different Pride and Out of the Darkness events across the state, including some that take place inside correctional facilities. I have helped to organize and facilitate Survivor Day events and organized our first 2 Oregon State Advocacy Days at the state capitol. At all of these different events, I've been able to hear some of your stories and the stories of your loved ones that have been lost to suicide. And those stories have become a part of my story. I know that we're stronger together and we will save lives and continue to bring hope to those who have been affected by suicide. Ryan, able to share the video from the others?
Well, yes, if I had uploaded it. So this is one of the little glitches I was worried about, and somehow I missed this, and we're gonna work our hardest to get it back. I really want you to meet everybody, but this is one of the things about these live experiences that we weren't quite ready for. So at any rate, now I do want to pull up some comments about from people just kind of letting us know where they're at. We got a lot of comments coming in, so thank you so much. I'm going to work on pulling it up. So just a thank you for everyone here supporting our mission, and Angela, some love for you. So welcome everybody. Thank you so much. I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to get that video uploaded quite yet, but I do want to just acknowledge the fact that we did have lots and lots of other volunteers who helped to make this experience possible, from people who are now in the chat to those that have recorded videos and pictures that you'll see here in a little bit. And you know, our volunteers are so important, and we can't do this work without you. So thank you very much. And again, coming up, we are going to have our remembrance ceremony. So if you haven't yet gotten onto the chat or figured out how to get the comments going, do so now. You can sign up for a Twitch account now would be a really good time, or get to Facebook and get signed up so you can participate. And I think one of the things, I want to share a couple of comments after this video, but one of the things our chapter has been talking a lot about during this year of 2020 is really just what can we do to make the most out of what we have. You know, we're doing that right now because we don't have the video. You know, we're not thinking about what we can't do because of, well, 2020, but we're thinking about what we can do with this opportunity. I know for me, for example, I've been able to, you know, play my guitar a lot more. And, you know, recently with the fires, I got to learn what material things are most important to me. And I think that's really important. So I'm wondering, and if you can put this in the chat or the comments, what are the things that you've been actually able to do more of or differently now because of 2020? And so while you're doing that, I'm proud to just introduce you to AFSP's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Christine Moutier.
Hi everyone, Christine Moutier, Chief Medical Officer at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. It's really my pleasure to take this opportunity to thank you for being involved and participating in the Out of the Darkness experience. Even though we can't be together in person, we can come together to raise awareness about suicide and suicide prevention and to support each other and the mission at AFSP. Thank you to our hardworking volunteers and staff for supporting the Out of the Darkness experience. Without their tireless efforts, we could not continue the life-saving work in suicide prevention that we do at AFSP. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about what has been going on at AFSP related to our work and the mission. This past year, we have funded 38 new suicide prevention research studies, and that brings our total current investment to $20 million, funding 100 ongoing current research studies in suicide prevention, making us the largest private funder of suicide prevention research. Through our 30,000 plus voluntary field advocates, we are leading the way in mental health and suicide prevention advocacy at the federal and state level, with over 50 state laws and 13 major federal policies being enacted into legislation just in the last several years alone. And most recently, AFSP has played a role in leading the establishment of the 988 three-digit number for people in crisis. We are truly a grassroots meets science organization with a long-standing dedication to those who have lost loved ones to suicide, and now people with lived experience as well. But on the Saturday before Thanksgiving each year, many of you know that AFSP supports hundreds of large and small international Survivors of Suicide Loss Day events. And in 2019, there were 417 of those events in 26 countries around the world. And this November, we hope to see the same, even through virtual means of coming together. We are also working at AFSP in collaboration with the media and entertainment industry to shine a light on hopefulness in mental health and ways that we can support people who are struggling long before a suicidal crisis is reached. So by working with these content creators, we can make sure that stories that are being developed now for media and entertainment are drawing on the best research in terms of the difference that family members, mental health professionals, teachers, counselors, that we can all make, and that hope and resilience are in fact possible, and not only possible, but that we can make a difference in that way for suicide prevention. So none of that would be possible without your support. And we thank you again for joining in the Out of the Darkness experience, joining with us to prevent suicide. With all of us working together, we can and we will prevent suicide. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we are so lucky to have Dr. Moutier as our Chief Medical Officer. And I just want to pull up some comments. We have a lot coming in, so thank you. Stacy's been able to focus more on self-care, which is including reading and going back to school. That's awesome, Stacy. Thank you for sharing. ICE has been able to take more time to connect with family and friends via FaceTime and Zoom. It's amazing what technology can do. I know, isn't that amazing? I mean, I think some of us are a little bit zoomed out, but this time has allowed us to and kind of forced us to connect in new and different ways. So thank you for sharing that. And Angela, who you've seen on the screen, has been able to connect with our AFSP community and share hope, which is something that we've been able to do differently now on social media platforms. So thank you all for sharing in the chats and comments. So now, one of the things that we've been able to do we've been encouraging people to do this year for the Out of the Darkness experience is to participate in the activities that that we have set up. So you've seen, if you tuned in early, you saw some of the hope quotes that we had requested from people. Those are still available for you to post on. And also, we have a memorial wall that you can submit a photo of your loved one. And you can still submit photos until the end of the year. So you can just visit the website that you see on the screen. There's a link to make your submission, and you can still submit a picture of your loved one, our loved ones. And we will be sharing them on social media and doing different things throughout the years, throughout the rest of the year and moving forward. So the photos that you're going to see on the upcoming memorial ceremony that we're going to start here in a second, these were submitted by people, by you, and we're going to share them on the screen in a little bit of a different way. So if you still want to honor your loved ones or participate in one of the activities, just visit the website that you see on the screen there. You can still submit there. And for the memorial ceremony that we have coming up, we did get a few submissions in late. We weren't able to get them all included onto the video, so I'm really sorry about that. But they will be or have been already added to the memorial wall. So for many, the Out of the Darkness experience or walk is a journey of remembrance and a time to acknowledge the ways in which suicide and depression have affected our lives and our loved ones. Various colors represent the ways in which suicide has impacted our lives. And while we can't be physically together this year, we can still support and encourage each other still. As we remember those we've lost, I want to encourage you to use the chat or the comments to write their names if you've lost loved ones in the different categories. So the first one is white, which represents the loss of a child. So if you've lost a child during the time the video is showing, please type their name into the chat. We thank you all for submitting the photos of your loved ones. We thank you for being here, and we honor your loved one. The next section has actually 3 colors. Red represents the loss of a spouse or partner. Silver represents a person who was a military or first responder. And gold represents the loss of a parent. Thank you to those of you who submitted pictures for that. We thank you for being here, and we honor your loved ones. And I just want to, we can't normally do this, in person. We'd be all kind of hugging each other, but there's a lot of love coming in the chats and comments. So I hope you all that are watching this, that have submitted photos, know that you're not alone. So this next this next video is orange, which represents the loss of a sibling. So if you've lost a sibling to suicide, please type their name in the chats or comments if you're comfortable with that. We thank you all for being here, and we honor your loved ones. Purple represents the loss of a family member or friend. So as this video plays, if you're comfortable with it, type their name into the chat or comments. Thank you all so much for your participation, and for those of you that submitted photos, thank you so much. I'm just gonna pull up a few of these comments just to recognize that we're here and we're live. Thank you so much again for sharing your photos and for your participation here in the chat. And so the next color that we have is green, which represents a personal struggle or a previous attempt. So to talk about that, I'm going to bring up Angela Perry once more.
Holding up my green beads at my first Out of the Darkness walk was the turning point for me in my mental health journey. Being able to see others who, like myself, have survived a suicide attempt or lived with suicidal ideations was the first time in my life I didn't feel alone. I know this year we can't physically see all of those who are also representing the color green, but I assure you that we're all here. When one struggles with their mental health, their brain is constantly telling them that they don't matter. My brain tells me that I don't matter. But let me tell you this, you do matter. I matter. We're not as alone as our brains want us to think. And I want to thank all of you survivors for having the courage to be here, to honor yourself by acknowledging the struggle that you live with daily, and the strength it takes to find a way to stay. You are loved, you are enough, and we are so much stronger together.
Thank you so much, Angela. And as always, we like to end on a positive note. And so the final colors we use to signify our connection to the cause are blue and teal. And teal represents your support of someone who struggles or who has attempted. And blue represents your continued commitment to suicide prevention and to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. So I want to share a short video now where you'll hear from some people in our state who all have unique stories to tell. And during the video, please use the chat or comments to continue to say that you will support suicide prevention efforts moving forward, or are willing to support those that struggle.
Hi everybody, my name's Zach. I've been a part of the Out of the Darkness for the past 5 years now, this year. In 2017, I attempted suicide twice. With this foundation and the help of my family and friends, I'm going on strong. Now it's been 3 years and I'm doing great. I'm here to support others that are with their struggles and let you know that there is hope out there. We can stop this.
There, I'm Bethany Grace Howell.
And I'm Nola.
Our why is different for each of us. For me, it's because I went through a period of suicidal ideation while working on my PhD. And as a result, I studied it and I continue to research it. But what I do remember was how devastating it was to go through it. And so as I sit here and go through the rest of my life, I'm dedicating a great deal of it to making sure that just as I didn't have to walk alone, no one else does.
And I just want to say that there are elementary school students like me who are thinking about it, and for them to even think about that can tell you that there are lots of things that there needs to be things that help those students.
Thanks for watching, because we're all in this together as we move out of the darkness towards hope.
Hi, I'm Christy, and my reason why for participating in the Out of the Darkness event is my son Tucker. I lost him in January 28, 2017, and he was just 20 years old. Part of the reason for being involved is to help bring about awareness and prevention and give support to others struggling, and to honor his memory.
I hope you enjoyed hearing and seeing some people's stories, hearing from them. And I just, we got a lot of comments coming in. I want to share some of them. Zach, and they're in Columbia County. Thank you for sharing your story. We are with you. And we want to be reminded that everyone matters to us. And thank you for continuing to support this organization. And Lucy, you're right. So much love out there. Thank you all so much for your participation today. And I know this is a lot different than any of us expected it to be. And obviously we have had a few little technical and program glitches, but we learned a lot, I think. I think Angela would agree with that as well. But I just, again, want to thank all of the volunteers and participants who submitted photos and videos to make this experience special. Everyone from the volunteers, the walk chairs, who were meeting with us via Zoom for several weeks to get ready for this and to kind of plan this out. And I just want to let everyone know that you are certainly helping to create a culture that is smart about mental health. So before we wrap it up, I have just 3 asks for you. First, if you can, continue to help us raise funds. Our event pages will be open and active, accepting donations until December 31st. So please share on social media, start a Facebook fundraiser, find creative ways to make a contribution if you can. I know this is a strange year and things are tough, but every single dollar counts, and that's the truth of it. And every single dollar helps to save lives and bring hope to those affected by suicide prevention. Second, if today's experience has inspired you and you maybe want to learn more about like what it's like to volunteer with the chapter, you can join us or save the date, I guess, for November 14th. It's a Saturday. Mark it in your calendar. We're planning on a volunteer orientation at 10 a.m. So you'll get to learn more about AFSP and all the different things that we are involved in and find out how you can help and volunteer. So third and finally, lastly today, it's not raining where I am, but it may be where you are. And if you can and it's safe, go out and do something that builds you up now. Maybe it's taking a walk or riding a bike, singing or drawing. Do something. It doesn't matter what. Go do something that builds you up and to take care of your mental health. If you can and you want to, take a picture or a video of you doing that activity and tag us at AFSP Oregon on social media. Thank you so much for giving your time and attention today. We're going to show a couple of videos at the end here, but we thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us. And just want everyone to know we are going to work our hardest and just hope that all things go well, that we can be in person in 2021. So thank you all so much for your time. We'll see you soon.
Hi, I'm Mike Lama, Senior Vice President for Development and Field Management for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I'd like to thank you for participating in the Out of the Darkness experience. While we can't be together in person, we can still come together as a community to raise awareness about suicide, support each other, and allow the work of the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention to continue. I'd like to thank our hardworking volunteers and staff for making the experience possible, and thank our chapters for all the work they do every day to prevent suicide. And while the pandemic has impacted us just like it has the rest of the world, we have continued our life-saving work, which is needed now more than ever. We've invested $20 million in current research studies, making us the largest private funder of research in the United States. Through our army of 25,000 volunteer field advocates, we've helped pass over 50 state laws and 13 major federal policies, including leading the efforts to establish 988 as a 3-digit number for people in crisis. During the pandemic, our chapters have shifted to delivering programs virtually, making programs available to thousands of people in all 50 states, including our new program, Enhancing Mental Health During COVID-19. We've continued delivering our critical loss and healing programs to those who've lost someone to suicide. And we've continued working toward our bold goal of reducing the suicide rate by 20% by the year 2025 through our innovative Project 2025. But none of this would have been possible without you. Through the support of thousands like you nationwide, we were able to continue our life-saving work. With the onset of the pandemic, our work is needed now more than ever. We know that there is a possibility of an increased risk for suicide, but we also know an increase is not a foregone conclusion. If we act now and continue delivering our programs, we can mitigate that risk. Thank you once again for your participation and support. Together we can and we will keep going to prevent suicide and save lives.